a very active period of weather will continue over the next couple of days for many people in the United States, and we've got to watch it closely as every day from now through the weekend, we do have a chance for seeing severe weather in some areas and snow in others. And as you can see on this map you're looking at right now, we get a little bit of both going on as I'm speaking. So we're going to cover that in today's video. So if you like this type of content and you like this video, please consider dropping a like down below. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so. But most importantly, please leave a comment below where you're watching from, and I would greatly appreciate it. So to start off here, we're going to look at some outlooks from the professionals, and we're going to move on. So this is what we've got going on right now. This is our outlook for today. This was recently updated last couple hours. So we do have several risk areas here, a level 1 out of 5, all the way up from Michigan down to Central Texas. Huge risk. A level 2 out of 5, slight risk, goes up from southern Wisconsin down again through Central Texas. And then the main show here is this orange enhanced risk here, level 3 out of 5, from Iowa down to the Red River and just points south. Areas of Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri are the primary regions I'm watching here. I'll overlay the radar just quickly here. This is what we got going on right now. So there are storms in this region. So we will expect to see more storms form in the next few hours, and I'll go over that in just a second. So stick around for that. But this is our outlook. We do have a kind of a double barrel risk for tornadoes here. You can see these two yellow shaded regions here in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri, and then northern Missouri, Nebraska, and Kansas here are for locally higher tornado potential. And these black hash marks mean that there could be EF2 tornadoes as well as your average EF0, EF1 tornado. We've already seen tornadoes today, and we'll probably continue to see them. Our wind outlook looks like this. So up in areas of Iowa and Missouri and Kansas, I'm watching a line to develop. It's already starting to, that could produce more damaging wind in this area. And that's what this black hashing means. These tornadoes, or sorry, these damaging wind gusts could be hurricane force. And this black hash mark is not to say that every wind gust will be hurricane force, but there could be some. And this yellow is a 15% risk of seeing damaging wind gusts all the way down along and south of the Red River. So pretty large area there. And our hail risk is what's driving this outlook. It goes all the way from central and southern Texas up to Michigan. So there's a 30% risk of seeing hail exceed 2 inches in diameter or larger in this red shaded region you see here. So moving on here, this is our day 2 outlook. This is for tomorrow. Everything kind of shifts to the east a little bit and gets bogged down to the south. So there's 2 areas to watch here. Texas and into the deep south here with one of them. And then up here and kind of the windward side of the central and northern Appalachian Mountains and the Ohio Valley getting up into the northeast here. And so we can break this down by type as well. We do have a tornado risk in both of these green shaded regions, but this is only a 2% risk here. Our wind risk looks like this. This is essentially the primary driver of these slight risks. So we could have damaging wind potential. This gets all the way along and then east of the Appalachian Mountains. It even includes me up here in the upstate of South Carolina. So interesting things there. And then we can look at our hail threat as well. And there is a potential down here in Texas that these hailstones could be up to 2 inches in diameter or larger possible. So this is our hail outlook. So let's move on here. I'm going to show you one thing to cover the rest of our severe threat. So this is right about now. It's the latest HRRR sub-hourly here. So it gives us an even finer scale here for our time. So this goes in 15-minute intervals. So this is starting off right about now. And you'll see how this cluster of storms in Oklahoma and Kansas here is what's been producing tornadoes primarily. So you just watch as lines of storms begin to form back here. These are highlighted from the professionals that they could produce those stronger wind gusts. And you'll see them develop here. This is getting out towards, this is in Eastern time. This little thing you see down here, it says 1:45. This is Eastern time. So 12:45 a.m. tonight, very much an overnight threat possible here. Look at these storms also forming down here between San Angelo and Abilene. These could be kind of a surprise for you guys as they're way removed from the rest of this threat, but there's very real potential in this area. And look at the snow on the northern side of this in Minnesota and far northern areas of Wisconsin here. So very dynamic system, but it moves off. And this is getting into early tomorrow morning. And it looks, most of our models indicate that we're just going to have some sort of broken, nasty line of storms from central Texas all the way up into the Ohio Valley. So We'll also watch tomorrow, and we'll look at that here in a minute for more severe chances, more severe threats. So moving on from this, here's what I'm talking about. So we're starting all of this off tomorrow, right about the time the sun's coming up. So this is starting down in the southern plains. Here we have this broken line of storms. This could be producing all hazards. I want to note that. And look at what happens. We get, like, let's say right here. This is like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. And look at what we've got going on. There are just broken, line segments and individual cells down here in Texas. These could be producing tornadoes. In fact, I would not be surprised if they add a 5% tornado risk down in this area. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So I would definitely watch for those. This is getting out to tomorrow evening, and these kind of cluster together, possibly producing more wind damage potential. But you can see also these, like right here, these storms down here in southern Texas have those little black updraft helicity streaks on them, meaning that they could be rotating. So definitely something to watch there. And then moving up to the north and east a little bit, starting off tomorrow morning, here's what we got going on. Very much more put together in this area. The reason for this is that we have more of what we call synoptic scale forcing for ascent, large scale forcing for ascent, whatever you'd like to call it. Pretty much just the upper levels, the main driving force is what's driving these storms. So they're a little bit more put together. They will struggle with thermodynamics, might not be as unstable in these areas because it's further north. This is getting into tomorrow afternoon. Now, I live in this area, so I'm biased. But you see these storms down here in northern Georgia and upstate South Carolina? I would want to watch these for hail. I really would, just because our upper levels are cooler than they typically are, because we have this big dip in the jet associated with this. So they could produce hail, and you can see this broken line starting to lose some steam as we get into tomorrow afternoon. But I mean, these like bowing line segments here could produce wind damage. I would want to watch for that. This is getting into the overnight. So we won't focus much. There is a threat for this Sunday, but it's very small, so I'm not going to focus on that till tomorrow. So, moving on here, let's look at the longer range a bit. Starting off tomorrow morning, this is the European model. Now, you're going to see a few different things on this map. You'll see, I'm going to go ahead and run the drawing tool here. You're going to see black lines. Those are isobars, so don't focus much on those. Those aren't helpful to you. But you also see these dotted blue lines. Those indicate the freezing line of loss. So if you see these blue lines dropping south, that means cold air is dropping south as well. Rain is in the green here, and the blue is snow, all that good stuff. So this is starting off tomorrow morning. And you'll see multiple rounds of orange and green and yellow down here in the southern tier of the U.S. Every day, pretty much. There's just little surges of them. And this is getting into the 10th. Now, our model guidance has kind of come back a little bit on the 10th and the 11th for some sort of very dynamic system. We were looking at this a long time ago, many days ago, and now we're kind of coming back to it. These black lines dropping to the south are indicating colder air filtering in behind. You see severe weather down here to the south, and then this shield of snow and freezing rain up to the north. So we do have a winter weather side to this. Very real possibility there. And it kind of wraps in that we have a very aggressive clipper on this run of the Euro, not final here, rolling in on the 13th for the areas of the northern tier of the country. And another one filters in very quickly. We have a very impressive looking line of storms here, 228 hours out, not a final forecast, but it is there. And then, I mean, this even gets snow kind of further to the south, southern Appalachians here, so something to watch. And see how far south that these blue lines make it? That means we have a lot of cold air, very potent shot of cold air filtering in. This is the 17th of March, so definitely possible. And then our pattern begins to change once again to more warm, but we have these little shots, these smaller scale shots of cold air dropping in here. So definitely looking for more dynamic weather as we get towards the middle of the month. Now, how about the GFS? Does it agree on this solution? Let's start off tomorrow morning. You'll see again in the southern tier of the country a lot of green, yellow, orange, all that good stuff. And then you'll see these multiple kind of clipper systems. And as we get into the 11th and the 12th, look at what happens. This is the afternoon of March the 12th. This coming Thursday here, we have a large shield of snow all the way down to the southern Appalachians, western North Carolina here. Getting all the way up into the northeast, a shield of freezing rain and snow here. Rain, severe weather to the south. Kind of a mixed bag of everything. Very dynamic system, sub 1,000 millibar low. So it's a pretty strong system. And you can see from these blue lines, there's cold air filtering in behind, which is driving this snow. This is 144 hours, guys. Not that far. Both models show something. So it's something I'm watching for sure. There's a clipper there on the 15th, the 16th, and 17th. Look at this. And we have snow falling in West Virginia, Kentucky here. Not final, but it's possible about exactly 10 days out from now. And then look at this right here. We're going to have this piece of energy that dives down right on the line between rain and snow here. And we do get snow developing in Arkansas. We get it developing in northern Tennessee. Is that final? Do I buy that? Not yet, but the pattern will support it. And we'll go over the pattern more in a second here. But I mean, you can see areas of heavy snow in southern Virginia and northern North Carolina. I mean, that's not normal for this time of year. March the 18th is about the last time you'd think of to see snow in these areas. So pretty interesting little system there. It gets snow up into the tidewater and then moves on out. So very interesting system there. And then right towards the end of the run, we have a low popping off in the northeast, bringing heavy snow to this area. And so that's all we got. So now I'm going to show you our pattern outlook here. So you're going to see a few different things. Right now, this is the European ensemble. What you're looking at here is our mid-level heights. So you can see this right here is a low pressure, a trough, right? This right here over in the eastern areas of the U.S., this red, is a spiking ridge. That's what that is. And the blue is associated with colder air. The red is associated with warmer air. So to move on here, starting off tomorrow morning, you will see this blue blob down here of the Baja California region is kind of spinning around doing a whole lot of nothing. Then it kind of ejects and it phases with this other energy we have up here to the north. This other trough of cooler air and lower pressure kind of dropping down to the central areas of the country. This will bring with it a shot of cold air. How strong will it be is a big question. It's a big question mark. But what we have to really look at here is exactly where this shot of cold air goes and if there's moisture involved. Because if there is, we could always see the potential for winter weather, even in March. But I want you guys to notice here as we get past the 12th, how this trough kind of anchors itself over the east. And especially more so as we get towards the 18th here, just over 10 days out. We have a big pattern flip here. This right here, guys, is about the opposite of what we were seeing not that long ago, where we got a ridge over here and a trough over this way. This is quite the opposite, literally the opposite. It goes like this, trough and a ridge. So very interesting pattern change, but at the same time, I absolutely buy this. I think we're going to see this. And we'll look at temperatures in a second, but I mean, this ridge out west just sticks around. And we have some sort of a troughing signature remaining for the eastern U.S. through the end of the run. So very interesting there. So speaking of temperatures, this is starting off tomorrow morning, and I want to note, guys, we're just really, really warm, really hot. I hit 85 degrees at my house today, maybe even 87. I didn't look in the middle of the day, but I know it hit 85. So pretty crazy even for this time of year in South Carolina. But look at this temperature gradient. All of this cool air is associated with this low pressure dropping to the Baja California regions. And you can see all of this warm air is being drawn up from the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean with this low pressure that is ejecting off into Canada. And so we're talking, 30 degrees in some areas above average. Very, very hot. And I say hot. I mean, literally it is hot, not just warm. Everyone gets in on this. Look there's another shot of it, March the 10th. But then you can see something's happening here. This low pressure over the areas of Mexico, the Baja California regions, is starting to eject off to the north, and it's bringing with it that cooler than average air at the surface. And you can see this trough in the north, and they phase together. And that initial shot is not all that strong, but watch what happens afterwards. We get a few days past that, and then boom, we got something crazy right here. Even for this time of the year. Guys, this is about the opposite of what you would expect this time of year. You got a large area of even well below average temperatures. We're talking maybe as much as 10 degrees, 15 degrees in some locations, below average as we get towards along and just past the middle of the month. And I buy this scenario. I think our pattern supports this. There's several factors that play into this, and I think a lot of them line up to give us a solution like this. So this does not seem far-fetched to me, but this could mean that for low temperatures in some of these areas, we get down into the 20s and 30s, even in the farther southern areas, which is weird this time of year, but it's not out of the question, and it's not unheard of. And you look at all this warm air out west, very interesting pattern change. And that blue, that lower than average temperature, sticks around with us. But that red does start to take over a little bit. We're pretty much near neutral on the eastern seaboard here as at the end of the run. So what a change that we could be expecting, and I absolutely buy it. So let's look at our activity here. Where are we going to see the most moisture fall? Because again, an active day of weather is something falling from the sky, whether that's rain, snow, lofted debris from a tornado. I know it's a little bit dark, but still, an active day of weather is defined as something falling from the sky for the most part. So this is our activity map. This is total precipitation, the national blend of models. Over the next 260 hours, that's about 12 days from now. You might notice, well, Charlie, some of these values dropped off. We were seeing blues yesterday. You were seeing these blues, but a lot of this was from the system we're seeing right now. So that's why it's kind of dropped some of these off, because some of it's ongoing. But you can still see it's targeting the same areas down here in the kind of the southern plains, the southeast, and then a kind of secondary corridor up here up into areas of Canada from the Midwest. And again, I mean, I buy that solution. Nothing about this looks weird to me, but there's a lot of rain to be had in, say, Arkansas, the Arklatex in general, even over to Mississippi. This could change. It will change. It's just an average here. And snowfall, guys, this is interesting to me. I find this interesting. I mean, this is the European ensemble through the next 360 hours. That's about 15 or 16 days. And starting in the central areas of the country here, the Dakotas are still good for snow over the next couple of weeks here. We even have a notable signal down to Nebraska and Kansas here. I want to note that. That's interesting to me that we have such a signal. But moving east here, we have a notable signal here in Virginia and North Carolina. I mean, that's interesting for this time of year, and that tells me some of these members are picking up on this. So I'm telling you, even though we're in March, winter's still not necessarily over. Look up here in the Northeast. I mean, we hit 85 degrees down here in the kind of mid-south, the deep south, and you guys over the next 16 days could see a foot of snow in areas. I mean, that's wild. It really is. So all of that to say, we got active weather to talk about. Just because we don't have an ice storm or we don't have a huge snowstorm, there's still a lot ongoing right now, and we have to watch it closely. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next one.